Okay, so the interview. So you're Phoebe.
I'm Phoebe. This is Pat.
And you're Phoebe.
I'm one
from Milwaukee.
So are you? You're Philip. Girl, Philippa, girl, that gala is fantastic. Is it one piece or you wrapped it? Your hair. It's a wrap.
Nice to meet you.
How do you say your name? Philippa. Thank you, Philippa.
We gotta start because the listening's my job. So it's not ready to
Yeah, so we say
No, it's not.
okay. So we take it. Yeah, we gotta get it done.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gwen Moore. I'm a member of Congress representing Wisconsin's 4th Congressional District, and I'm so glad to be here with one of my colleagues, Representative Dwight Evans from Philadelphia, who's also a member of the Ways and Means Committee. Under our jurisdiction is the Earned Income Tax Credit. It's something that has gone on since like maybe 1973, first through the Nixon era, and it has been a bipartisan issue helping to truly lift people out of poverty by really rewarding work, creating tax incentives for people to stay in the workforce, which is our jurisdiction. And I'm so happy that my colleague is joining me in this effort. The Earned Income Tax Credit definitely needs to be modernized. It has not been modernized significantly for over 30 years. We've seen modernizations through Clinton, through Democratic and Republican presidencies, and even with the latest iteration of our American Rescue Plan, where the age range for receiving the Earned Income Tax Credit was lowered to age 19 from 25 and really provided benefits for people above 65. We think that those things to incentivize workers in every age range is certainly appropriate. We also want to sort of do a little bit of disconnecting the dependent children from the Earned Income Tax Credit. We think that there are many people who are working who don't have children that we are literally taxing into poverty. And so we think it's really important to recognize that work needs to be supported. The Worker Act would do some significant changes. Number one, it would recognize that going to school, to vocational school, 2-year and technical college, or to a 4-year university is in fact work. We're just stuck on stupid waiting on dumb to come. If we are creating an environment where tuition is high, it's unaffordable, people have to take out all kinds of loans, and we're not recognizing that they are indeed giving something to our community. We also think that it's important, I'm over 65, I'm a boomer, confession, but I'm not alone. There are 10,000 people turning 65 every single day. We are a huge cohort of people, and our relatives lovingly take care of us, save billions of dollars in Medicaid when we're not put in nursing homes. But that is uncompensated care. $500 billion to $1 trillion a year is uncompensated care. As mostly women are forced to reduce their hours or to get out of the workforce in order to take care of disabled children, disabled spouses or loved ones or partners, disabled parents, aunts, uncles. I'm so happy that you don't have to trust me. We have witnesses here with us today. Philippa Laster, a mother and a caregiver for a fragile child. Now, she's been paid to take care of other people, but she is losing that income because she has to take care of her own child. Carolyn Hill, she's a mother. She's a grandmother. I mean, she is a great-grandmother. Caregiver. She's a caregiver on disability benefits, and lovingly, her nieces took her in to care for her. God bless them. And Pat Albrecht, a single mother. And both she and her son would have benefited for the Worker Act. The mechanics of how it will work are things that we can address in the Q&A perhaps. But I just want to yield for a moment to my good friend from Philadelphia, who before he became a member of Congress was the chair of the Appropriations Committee in the legislature of Pennsylvania. So he knows the bottom line on what it costs really to live. Dwight, please take the podium.
Thank you to Gwen Moore for her leadership. Good morning. I'd like to thank, I'm a colleague from the Ways and Means Committee with my colleague Gwen Moore, someone who I've known for a long period of time. I thank her for reintroducing this particular initiative. I'm proud to be a co-sponsor. This is a pro-worker and pro-business. I've heard from Philadelphia businesses that are having trouble finding workers. We have heard about it all over the country. And here is some good news, thanks to my colleague showing the leadership on this. It will do a lot with workers. And as Gwen has just described, the importance of this initiative. I also support raising the minimum wage. That is important by raising the minimum wage. The EITC has enjoyed a lot of bipartisan support over the years, including President Ronald Reagan. I say that as Gwen has described when she described the bipartisanship. And there's no reason this issue should not be addressed. This bill will help more Americans to join the workforce. It will help others to stay in the workforce. This is a win-win. This is important. As my colleague has just described, this is a win-win. I call this a poverty buster.
Yeah.
We are collectively joining together. May it be the great state of Milwaukee and understanding the importance of us working together collectively, both of us sitting on the Ways and Means Committee, because we understand what this means. So we are sending a message, and we are saying to the Republicans who are in charge, if you want to be about work, let's pass Gwen Moore's bill now. I say to you that it's important to understand that this is not partisan. And we know this bill will work because already this is done during the height of the pandemic. This is a tool in our toolbox. We understand that. So as we stand here together, we collectively know what it means. So I sincerely want to thank Gwen Moore for her leadership. That is especially important. It starts with the leadership. So Gwen, I want to thank you sincerely for that, and I want to yield back to my colleague.
Listen, Representative Evans, this is important. Our constituents have put us in the place to be able to do this. And we have people here from Milwaukee. We have folks, and I want to ask Philippa and Carolyn and Pat to join us here at the podium and just share your own stories. Come on, girl. Come on, give me a hug. Every mother is a working mother. Come on and share your stories with the press here and with the people here. These are real people, y'all.
Hi, my name is Carolyn Hill. Getting the earned income taxes, what it means to me It means a whole lot. It means that my family gets food, more food in the house, clothes on their back. They'll get more outgoing, being family, like movies and everything. And it'll help us stop all the arguing of who get this now and who don't get this. The earned income tax will value the work I do as taking care of my grandmother, my mother, my kids, my grandkids, great-grands, and other people. The tax credit will, and I have a disabled brother that I still take care of and never got paid for none of this work. The tax credit for caregivers is a blessing. It will now help everybody get food on their table, money in their pockets. It'll stop all the robberies that's going on, all the beatings that the kids is out here doing. It'll keep kids home with families where they can all do outings together than being out on the streets. These kids are angry because they don't have it. And it'll also stop the kids from selling drugs to help their mom put food on their table. And I am so glad to be out here today. And it's a way of bringing help to kids that are so very angry.
And where are you from, Carolyn?
From Philadelphia.
All right, all right. Philadelphia in the house here.
Thank you very much, Ma, for the opportunity to stand for myself and for every other woman, every other widow, every other mom of a special needs child. My name is Philippa Laster. I'm from Philadelphia. I'm a mother of 2 children. One of them is autistic, and he's 19-year-old. In fact, he clocked 19 just yesterday. The sister is 13-year-old, and I homeschool her. I'm a certified caregiver, and I work out of my home to generate income for the need of my family. Before my son clocked 18 years old, I wasn't allowed to work with him. Every special need mom must have gone through this. I wonder why. Because the younger the kids are, the more they need their parents. The more they need stability, the more they need something familiar. Every caregiver is careful with the way they handle other people's children. And so, where I work as a caregiver, getting out of my home to go work to earn income, my colleagues have to go to my own home to take care of my own child. He's 18. He was 18 last year. And that was the only time that I began to be able to teach my son how to bathe himself. If I'd been paid all along for his care, by now we'll be really talking about how much he has gained by becoming independent gradually. We work hard raising our children, and we work hard at having to go outside and thinking what could be happening at home with our special needs children. Especially when I have to be called, or when we have to be called every second to be told or to be asked what to be done or what our child is doing. I walked without my heart being in one place, always divided between home and the care I give outside. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the introduction of the Worker Reform Act. Families like mine, whose work were never appreciated or counted as work, will now be able to earn something that will make them be at home for their younger kids. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Philippa. Be sure to tell them where you're from.
Yes. Hi, I'm Pat Albright, and actually I'm living in Philadelphia, but I was born in Milwaukee.
That's right.
So, oh, okay, yes. So as a low-income single mother of a son who is now 31 and a former welfare recipient, I'm thrilled to be here today on the occasion of the reintroduction of Congresswoman Gwen Moore's Worker Relief and Credit Reform Act. This bill would have made such a difference to both me and my son. When my son was a child, I struggled to feed my son healthy food, make sure he had decent clothes to wear, was able to participate in extracurricular activities, sports, music lessons, and so on, often going without myself in order to give him the best I could. I would fix a big soup that would last for a week, feeding my son, our dog, and myself. And if we went out to eat with friends, I would say I wasn't hungry and just get a cup of coffee so I could afford to buy a meal for my son. And the recognition and compensation for the hard work of being a higher education student included in the Worker Relief and Credit Reform Act would have been huge for my son and his friends, and if passed, will help other young people pursue a higher education who otherwise could not. When my son was in college, he was struggling and applied for food stamps. But when he was told he would have to comply with work requirements, he couldn't manage that on top of his schoolwork. To me, this bill is historic. As a former welfare recipient, I'm sick of being told we need to be pulled up by our bootstraps or given a hand up, not a handout. The poorer we are, the harder is the work of just basic survival. In addition to having access to cash, which is urgently needed, the Worker Relief and Credit Reform Act establishes that we mothers and other family caregivers, what we mothers and other family caregivers already know, we are workers deserving of support. Congresswoman Gwen Moore's bill will strengthen the fight to make much needed changes in other areas, such as TANF, or Welfare for Families. In Pennsylvania, TANF welfare benefits have not been increased even for inflation since 1990. $403 a month for a mother with 2 children is cruel. And now with the ending of both the extended child tax credit and the emergency food stamp allotments, coupled with inflation, more and more of us, especially mothers and children, already the poorest of the poor, are in crisis. Meanwhile, money that should be going to impoverished women is being used for child welfare programs that that increasingly remove our children from us, not because of abuse, but because their children are poor. We thank you, Congresswoman Moore, and we'll do everything we can for this bill to become law.
All right. I just want to thank Carolyn, Philippa, and Pat for sharing these stories, and it all has the sort of the same thing, is that, you know, that we are constantly told that people need to go to work, and mothering is work. Caring for, you know, having your niece get out of the workforce so that you don't have to go to a nursing home is work. Being a student is work. And again, $500 billion to $1 trillion a year is non-compensated care. I just want to point out that as we debate things like Medicaid in this institution, Medicaid is the biggest payer for nursing homes. And when our loved ones find themselves in a situation that they have to go to a nursing home, when their caregiving needs are just too great for a family, we're happy to have those access to those facilities. But nobody wants to give up on their 5-year-old autistic son. Did you hear Philippa say that she had to go take care of other people to earn money while some other caregiver took care of her son? Did y'all get that? Instead of allowing her to teach her son how to bathe and take care of himself. This is humane. This is modern. And this is consistent with an effort that all of us have of making work pay. And I thank you. If there are any questions that you all have, one of the ways that this would work logistically is that we can brief you on the phase in and phase out features of the bill. But one of the things that I think is really, really important about this bill is that there are so many people who have worked their entire lives, have gone to work every single day, and they have a stroke, and they could stay at home, but they don't have anyone to take care. They're forced into nursing homes when they could stay at home if there was someone to take care of them. They make too much money to qualify for Medicaid and for other kinds of things, but it's that niece that would come and help them get out of bed in the morning and fix them some breakfast and maybe put a little tuna in the refrigerator for lunchtime that could keep them in their home. This is what the Worker Act is all about. And enabling that niece to cut her hours down by 10 hours a day so that she can keep her aunt, who otherwise wouldn't qualify for any benefits. This aunt might be on Social Security, getting her Social Security check, maybe even have a small pension. But rather than giving all those resources to a nursing home, letting her niece come and giving her the loving care. This is what I'm hoping for, y'all. I'll be 72 next month, God willing. And I'm hoping that I can stay at home as long as I can. But I don't want to impoverish, I don't want to impoverish any of my relatives in order for me to be able to stay at home. And I don't want to stay at home unsafe. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
You see, I had your people out here. You better show up. Y'all got any questions? All right. Thank you. We're off to a markup. Thank you. We're late. You got a ride?
Can we get a quick photo? Everybody, come on, the group. Where's Anna?
Well, one of the things is I was fact-checked on something about the earnings. We are actually in a situation where we're taxing people in the pot. And the Republicans scratch their heads when they can't have one more sign.
That's just me.
This is a bipartisan thing.
Everybody face this way. She's going to get, as soon as Representative.
Reauthorize probably this year.
If you want this held
The
up.
welfare bill.
So make sure your signs are.
And we would be remiss, with all the rhetoric around, putting people back to work, making work pay, giving people the whole dignity of work piece. We would be remiss, to ignore the fact that people are working. They're working and they're not being compensated. We're going to make those arguments to our colleagues, and demonstrate. We're going to provide the receipts. These are our receipts here of people who are working their tails off.
That's right.
And